To wrap up our third day of Learn Fest, we have Belinda. Belinda, I'm so excited to have you on today. Belinda is a teacher of the year. She used to be a teacher at Cass Tech in San Antonio ISD, master teacher there, has done some really cool stuff. She had the first UI UX pathway that was developed in the United States, right, Belinda?
Yep.
And so just doing some really innovative things in CTE. And we're super excited and blessed because she's just joined the Bulb team as an EdTech Solutions Specialist. And so we're just a couple of weeks into her joining Bulb, but she's actually going to share her experience with Adobe Spark and talking a little bit about Spark and then how you can bring Sparks into Bulb. So Belinda, super excited to have you wrap up day 3 of LearnFest. And as we get going, I just want to encourage people, remember to follow us on social, hashtag BulbAppChat. Let us know what exciting stuff you learned about Nearpod and what you picked up about Adobe Spark. And don't be afraid to ask us questions in the chat or Q&A. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and hand it over to you, Belinda.
Thank you, Bria, so much. Hello, everyone. And first off, I want to say, I want to give a big shout out to Isleta because I was the Region 20 Secondary Teacher of the Year, but an amazing teacher over there, Michelle Sandoval, the 8th grade math teacher, was the Texas Secondary Teacher of the Year. So I know they're doing some amazing things over there, and obviously because they're on here, so Teacher of the Years, they use Bulb, right? So no pressure. But I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen. And I try to take down as many tabs as I possibly can. So I know all of you are probably like me, you have a million tabs up. But real quick, so I taught for over 13 years, and I was, my last position was user experience design master teacher, but before that I was teaching digital art and animation, graphic design, and a lot of the digital design courses, multimedia as well. And I started using Bulb 3 years ago because CTE teachers know every student has to graduate with a portfolio, and I used anything and everything out there from e-binders to Google Drive. And once I found Bulb, I was like, eureka. I loved it so much that now I work for them. So I'm pretty excited to share Bulb with educators, but from the teacher standpoint, I just left June 10th. So I practice what I preached, and I want to actually share with you my presentation. And I love putting everything on Bulb, because if I put in Google Drive, I forget where everything's at, and I'm visual, so I get to see the pictures and I get to see where exactly I have different things. So I made this public. You can definitely go into here whenever you would like. So I'm going to start off with my, okay, with my Summer Learn Fresh presentation. So if you all have used Bulb before, then you know that you can present items. You can put Google Slide presentations in here. So that's what I did, so I wouldn't lose it, and I had to look for it in Google Drive. But we're gonna talk a little bit about what Adobe Spark is. And basically, it's on your phone, it could be on your iPad, it could be online, and it's a design app with preloaded templates. For web, it's called Spark Page. You can do social graphics in there. That's called Spark Post, and short videos, Spark Video. So you'll see why I put those in there in a few moments, because it could get kind of confusing. But Adobe actually put out these recommendations, and I definitely agree with that. Spark Video can be used all the way from kindergartners to 12th grade and beyond. But Spark page, when you're looking at web pages and social media, you have to be careful with FERPA and COPPA compliance. So they give you the grade recommendations right there. Now, Adobe does have a free version, like Nearpod, like Bulb, but it's not as robust as a paid version. If you have worked with Adobe products, they can be rather costly, and some schools realize that they only want to put that expense for design students because they're difficult to learn, but Adobe Spark makes it easy. But however, and I know I'm talking about Adobe Spark, I want to also give you another option called Canva. It depends what you like to use as an educator, as a student. So I give the choice, and I'm going to go ahead and look at both of them, but definitely steer towards Adobe Spark. Why use it? So you can design like a digital media teacher, digital art teacher, or graphic designer in very little time. I know how to use a lot of different design programs, but when you're creating lesson plans, you have parent meetings, you have to handle a meltdown of a student in class. Time is very important. So also, if you don't know when to use bitmap versus raster, pixel ratio, RGB versus CMYK, assets, all the digital design talk, this is a good place to go to. How to use it in Bulb. So interactive learning while showing the process. That's kind of what the theme is that I've been hearing, curating the work and showing the process of, on the student perspective, of how I started this project or this, this test and what I learned along the journey. But just a few examples, and you can be as creative as possible. You can do creative storytelling in Adobe Spark. I'm putting it on Bulb, photo essays, science fair presentations, athletic announcements. For the little ones, you can show them how to play with shapes and colors, and the list goes on, wherever your imagination can take you. So this is a little bit about me if you want to follow me on Twitter and all that jazz. So I am going to get out of all of that, and I'm going to share with you now what Adobe Spark looks like. All right, so you can go in to Adobe Spark and Canva through the Google sign-on, and this is what you're going to see. They're going to give you a little tour like almost every program, which is great. But I am going to do a little bit of showing you a few examples of how to use these design tools, and then show you how to integrate it into Bulb. So I can use templates that they already have there, or I can go ahead and decide, what do I want to create? So if I go to view all, they're going to give me suggestions. If I want to create something on social media, if I want to grow my business, a lot of different templates to use. Now let me share with you Canva, and you're going to see very similar. The free version in both are great, but what's different about Canva is you can pay as a teacher for certain things that you want, anywhere from $1 to $3. So you don't have to get a monthly or yearly subscription for your class. For students, at the high school level, sometimes I've seen high school kids that they're like, oh, I'm gonna pay the $1 for this, and that's fine as well. But you can contact them if you want it for your whole class, and they'll work with you. But it's the same thing. You have Facebook, a lot of different templates in Canva also. So once again, this just makes design easier. So let's go back to Adobe Spark. In Bulb, what's great about that tool is it's a visual representation of who you are and what you can do. And one of the amazing parts that helped me on Bulb are the banners. And since I knew how to design before, I was creating banners in Adobe Photoshop and Adobe Illustrator, and then time was of the essence. So I started using Spark and Canva to create my own banners. So let's say I like this Facebook cover. Now it does say it's Facebook, but I'm gonna show you how to change that for bulb or any banner really. And of course, there's a little bit of connectivity there. All right.
Hey, Belinda, so we're seeing your page Design Like a Pro. Is that the one you're wanting to be sharing?
Uh-oh, let me go back to, let me try this again. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, here it is. Are you seeing it now?
Perfect. Yep, that makes sense.
Okay. So Spark Post, and then here's Canva. I apologize. So let me go back real quick. Okay, I'll go ahead and start with Canva while Spark is loading. But once you log into Canva, you're going to see the templates that you can use quickly to get you started. Students, there are some of them where they can design from a blank slate, but they need something to get them started. And this is what everything looks like in Adobe Spark. If I go back home, I can decide if I want to start from scratch, or if I know I want a Facebook post or a presentation, or I can go to view all. And this is where I was letting you see they have the collections for you. So I'm going to go to that Facebook cover in Adobe Spark. All right, so I have a template right here, and I am going to, I can actually go to the right and I can change the templates up if I really didn't like that at first. So when I click on templates, I'm going to get more templates to go from. Now you're going to see items with the yellow tag on there. That's with the paid version, so you can't use those. So let me go ahead and try this one. I know it's free because it doesn't have the yellow tag on there. And while it's loading, I'll probably use this one for a basketball conditioning over the summer. So it says, hello March, not a problem. I can just double click on the type and I can change it. So basketball. All right. Now, this is a guide, but students and teachers can add or change anything. So when I double click on anything, you're gonna see the changing of the options on the right hand side, everything from the text type or the font to the different colors. And sometimes they'll give you suggestions of color palettes if you're not too sure what colors go with what. Because students, design-wise, sometimes they go a little crazy. I think we've seen that on PowerPoints when they use every color in 5,000 images. I can click Add, and you're gonna see I can add photos, text, I can add a logo, I can even add an icon. So maybe it's not basketball. I'm from Indiana, so basketball is God there, but now I live in Texas, so I'm gonna type in football because that's pretty popular over here. All right, so I'm just gonna maybe put this over and you can resize. So you have to be careful because you can spend quite a few hours, and you've seen students where they get fixated on everything. So I'm gonna delete my basketball, put my football over there. All right, so now I'm going to, I've played with my colors. I'm gonna go to resize. And even though I started off with a template that said a Facebook post, I could change my mind and say, I wanna put this on Instagram, or I wanna use it for my banner for bulb. So I'm going to go down to standards, and for bulb, I can use the banner, which is a 3:1 ratio. And I made my banner because it is free. You're gonna get the Adobe Spark at the bottom on the right-hand side. just going to download for Bulb. I'm going to get the JPEG and start my download. And now I'm going to show you how I can take it over to Bulb. Are there any questions so far? I know I'm going a little quick because I want to get time.
I know we're making you guys present super quickly. We did have one question. If you could just clarify for us, Belinda. So what would you say the main purposes of Spark versus like the main purpose of Canva? Or yeah.
Great question. They pretty much do the same thing, but Spark, you can integrate it with any Adobe products pretty quickly. So if you're used to using Photoshop, Illustrator, the Dreamweaver, and Adobe has so many products.
So it really is the creation of a visual image is kind of what you would say is like the core, the main purpose of Spark. And
yes.
Canva.
Yes.
Great. And then you can use those images to put into other products like Bulb or other Adobe products or other things.
Correct. Images, videos, slide deck presentations, because if you're finding that the templates you have on Google Slides or PowerPoint are pretty boring, you can go ahead and discover what they have. I'll be honest, Canva is a little bit more robust with the slide presentation templates. And Adobe, it's easier for the video templates. Great. So let me show you. So I have an example of how I used Adobe Spark for teachers and for students. So in my collection, I did a project, because I always did project-based learning, social entrepreneurship, what I would give to the teachers, and then social entrepreneurship, what I would expect back from the students. So in the teachers, you're gonna notice this is a banner that I created, and I am going to go ahead and delete that and just show you how easy it is to browse my device and get your downloads. So I'm going to get, let's see, that was one that I created. And you don't have to worry about, is it going to be pixelated? Do I have the right size? And that's for anything. If you want to do a post on Instagram, it gives you the right size graphic or design. All right, so just like other teachers, I used this amazing elementary project on entrepreneurship. And so I'm showing, if I was a teacher, this is how I would give my assignment to my students using Bulb. So I start with the objective on top, has a little video. I used audio to show them what's next. And this is a video that I made in Adobe Spark. I'm hoping if you can, Bria, if you can tell me if you can't hear the audio.
We're not hearing the audio.
You're not hearing it? Okay. Okay. So
that's okay though.
And if you go to my Bulb page, you'll be able to hear it, and it has music. It's pretty, it's kind of fun, but once again, give yourself a time limit, because you can take, you will never have the perfect video, but real quick. So if I go to Slideshow, that's when it's going to take me to Spark Video, and I'm gonna, it always prompts you to name your file, so that makes it easier to find later on. And we have the little, so once again, you can make decisions. They don't give you too many options, which is good, because in design, you can go crazy and you want it just sleek and simple. So I can add text. And I just click on each different each different slide, but it'll play together like a video. And they give you templates. So if you're not too sure where to start from scratch, but for each part of your video or your slide presentation, you just hold down the button and the record button, and it'll record for that slide. Sorry, my trackpad is real touchy.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And then, that's how I use to help teach the students, go a little bit more in depth. Now, from the student perspective, so if I gave them the assignment, they're logging the entire process. So this was the first part of the project. And then they got to do a visual journal in Adobe Spark. So if I go back.
So they're logging their journey in Bulb, and then they're creating that visual presentation in Spark.
Yes. Or in Canva, whichever they prefer.
Yeah.
Does the same thing. So I can keep my projects. And so once again, kind of like Bulb, I like it because I can visually see everything. So if I wanted to change my project, just go as quick as go back in and edit. Once it loads. So I maybe didn't like the kind of font there. So I would just click on there and change my font. And I can change out pictures. I can add items. I can add effects, styles. So it's pretty much wherever your imagination could take you. And back to Bulb. So you see they did, the assignment was to create a journal. They did a visual journal, and the student decided to write about it as well. They had to come up with a product. So they did a promotion marketing plan, and using the carousel function, they created a flyer in Adobe Spark. Okay, I created it, but just so you can see from the student perspective. And marketing has changed quite a bit from, I know when I was in college, that now you have to have social media marketing. So if kids are learning about that, you know, I could go to Adobe Spark, and for their templates, they have a whole marketing package. So growing your business, so flyers, newsletters, Facebook ads. But you notice they have a collection for teaching if students want to do a photo collage. This is great for really any student, but I know ESL learners do better with images sometimes when they're first learning the language. Our Spanish teacher actually used Adobe Spark to do an interactive story, and she used the video option, and students, they use my class to draw things in Adobe Photoshop and Adobe Illustrator, and then they put that into a interactive storybook where they recorded their story in Spanish. So that was pretty neat.
That's awesome, Belinda. We do have a couple questions as we wrap up. So someone had asked, what's the time limit, like recording time for the video? Is there a limit there?
So what's great is on Adobe Spark, they give you, I believe, 30 seconds for each slide. And great. I'll be honest, I really keep the video short. So I don't know for the free version what the storage is for that. Okay. Now, on Canva, you don't have that recording in the slides, in the presentation, but you do have an option in video, but I like the video option a little bit better in Spark.
Great. And then does Canva and Spark work on all devices?
Yes, and they work on Android and iOS. So
Great.
all students have phones, they could be creative.
Yeah, that's awesome. Same with Bulb, right? It's wonderful the amount of creation tools and things that students can do from their phone, creating all these tools, pulling it into Bulb, all from their phone. And then I believe both of them have a cost associated with it, right? Both Canva and Spark.
Yes, and Spark, as soon as you go in there, they give you the pricing structure.
Yeah.
So they tell you what the free version has. Canva, they charge by assets or templates that you want to get. So if you notice, if I click on this one, it says free on the bottom right-hand corner. And then sometimes they will give you, if I used an element, and every program has a different name for everything. If I wanted, a football graphic, so I have my free ones, and then you'll see the pro that I need to have that subscription, or I can buy them separately. It'll let me put it on my design, but it'll put a watermark just like it does in Adobe Spark.
Great. And somebody from our audience had just chatted in that they had recently learned that Canva has a free upgraded education version or subscription. So she chatted that. Lisa, thanks so much for that tip. So if you're an educator on with us today, that might be something worth checking out. So that's pretty cool. Belinda, this has been awesome. Gosh, today we've learned a lot about different creation and presentation tools, which has been so cool. Lots of things. I took lots of notes and thought, oh, I get to explore some new things. And so hopefully you guys took away some great tips from our educators on how you can engage students and give them a chance to express themselves in a really, really interesting, dynamic way that gives them a lot of choice. So